Thank you so much for watching Riff TV. Now, this interview is obviously with video, but I don't interview everybody on Zoom. That's why I put it on my Talkin Rock with Meltdown podcast. We talk to rock artists from all over the genre. So check out Talkin Rock with Meltdown wherever you get your podcasts. And now to today's video interview.
Hey, Tripp, good to see you. I think that here in the radio station, we got one of those Static X gold records hanging up on the wall somewhere. Yeah.
Cool. Right on.
Yeah, it looks familiar.
What town? What city are you at?
We're in Detroit. You've probably played Harpo's how many times?
Oh yeah, Harpo's. Yeah, there's Harpo's. And I'm trying to think. We played what's the big the famous place downtown? We played
like Joe Louis Arena?
No, the place where Kiss played.
Oh, Cobo Hall.
Yeah, Cobo Hall. That was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Weren't you guys, I'm just reminiscing now. I can't really recall. Were you guys on an Ozfest tour one year?
That Ozfest happened before I was in the band.
Okay. All right. I thought that there was some sort of Static X Ozfest thing. So
yeah, they played the final Ozfest too in 2007. So they played one in 99 and then 07, they played the final one.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. Did you play any Ozfest dates with any bands? No.
Just missed that. We did when we did Cobo Hall. I think it was the Family Values tour.
Oh, with Limp Bizkit,
Linkin Park, Stained, Stone Temple Pilots.
Wow.
Yeah, in 2001.
Yeah, that's going back. Yeah, I remember seeing Ozzy and Rob Zombie that year. I probably saw that tour, as a matter of fact, if I recall. But anyways, so what's going on with you? I mean, you know, you have been in about 18 different bands. Right now, you got Face Without Fear. You got a lot of things happening. What's going on in your world?
Yeah, I'm promoting a bunch of things. I'm in 3 projects right now. So it keeps me pretty busy, but each project is its own thing. And the guys, I'm friends with all the guys in the different projects and stuff. And, you know, it's a lot of good vibes. So been out there promoting all these different things and trying to juggle, you know, doing some shows. We're actually doing a show tomorrow. For Face Without Fear in Jackson, New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's Jackson is where Great Adventure, Six Flags, down that way. But yeah, it's you know, keeps me busy doing some shows with my old band Rough House, and I got a new project. So yeah, I've been doing little by little, doing some interviews, getting out there.
Yeah. Yeah, getting back in the swing. Yeah, so speaking of live music, I was watching the live stream you guys did a couple of years ago, and it just brought back terrible memories with all the guys wearing the masks and everything, and the guys doing the live streams with no crowds and stuff. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. It's just like, just sort of like, I just can't stand it. You know, it's like watching that now, looking back on it, it just brings terrible memories back, I think. But what was it like doing that live stream with no audience or nothing there?
Well, yeah, it was like shooting a video, but the mask thing is kind of interesting because I remember it was a couple years, like a year or two before COVID hit, right? I went to see Ministry play because Tony Campos was in Ministry.
Yeah.
I went to see Ministry play, and they all started the show like this. But that was to look like Antifa, right?
Right.
Al was like, "Oh, Antifa." They have a song about Antifa, so they came out trying to look gangsta and like rebels, and they came out like that, you know, like push forward a year and a half later, they're like, people are all doing that, you're walking into the bank like this, like, hey, put money out. Then someone puts glasses on and they're like, hey, going up to the ATM, it says in the ATM, like, no wearing dark sunglasses. You know, they even tell you on the ATM, they're filming you, so they want to see what's up. And now it's like, you can wear a mask everywhere. It's crazy. But this brought back memories of, like, never mind over the face, but just wearing a bandana like this is like the 80s, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I grew up in Western New York. We didn't wear bandanas, I don't think. No, where'd you grow up? Did you grow up on the East Coast?
Yeah, in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Like Eastern Pennsylvania, like right on the border of Jersey. So it's like the Poconos and the Slate Belt and stuff. It's like pretty cool area. Allentown, you know, Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Yep, I do. Yeah. Somebody wrote a song about it. I can't remember who that was.
Billy Joel. Oh, so you grew up where?
Western New York, outside of Buffalo.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I would go up to Rochester a lot.
Yeah.
early 90s, there was a place called the Penny Arcade.
Yes. And have you ever been to the House of Guitars?
No, I haven't. I heard so much about it, like people in different bands, and then Virus, who was in Dope, and I knew him since like 92, 93. And I think he worked there, and like I hear so much about it. I just never got there. We were there so many times, and we just didn't get over there. We're just busy. But I heard, is it still there?
I think it's still there. I've never been there before. I followed on social media and stuff for whatever reason, but they've got they had the well, of course, not to get too much off on a tangent here about Rochester, but that's where the song Jukebox Hero came from, because Lou Gramm was from Rochester, and he was standing outside the Rochester War Memorial hearing a band play one time, and that's where that whole song came from.
Oh, okay. Jukebox Hero. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Rochester, like there's two things about Rochester. Wegmans.
Yeah, that's right. That's a New York thing. Yeah.
No, Wegmans is all the ways down here in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. I mean, Wegmans is huge down here. Everybody loves. And then Nick Tahoe's, I guess but that's like the whole area, right? Buffalo wings, Buffalo, like hot sauce, and Nick Tahoe's was a place to go. But yeah, that was a cool little thing, back in the day. But yeah, getting back to Detroit, it's weird. I had a crazy dream about Detroit the other night. A friend of mine who had passed away, I was dreaming. I was driving through Detroit, and does Detroit have any steep hills?
Not really. It's pretty flat.
Well, I was in this dream. I was in Detroit, and I was going up this steep hill with a car, and the brakes were bad. I was like, "Oh my god, I'm going to go back." I turned the wheel so it would roll into the curb, and ahead of me was a stadium. Is there any stadium downtown?
Yeah, there's Ford Field and where the Tigers play and stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, I pulled up, and there was this giant stadium. I made a left, riding with my dad, and I saw my friend who passed away walking the streets of Detroit. I'm like, is that him? I thought he was dead, and I pull over quick. I said to my dad, watch the car, because there was no parking. Pulled into a bus stop, and I ran down, and my friend was there. I'm like, what are you doing in Detroit? It's like, I had to start my life over. I'm like, you lied about being dead. It was a crazy dream. But
are you a spiritual guy? Do you think that people that have passed away come back to you in dreams like that?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't necessarily believe that, but I think it has deep meaning of, you're like unsettled things. I've had many dreams about Wayne,
mm-hmm.
about just there's Wayne, and then I'm talking to him. He's alive, and I'm like, he didn't know that he died. He's back to life. All these different scenarios. I went back in time. I like so many dreams. I have dreams about Wayne, about my other friend who passed away. Yeah, I have dreams about my grandparents. So yeah, it has a deep meaning. I love dreaming about, people that have passed away, because then you get to talk to them again. It's just surreal. But I definitely think it has meaning,
Yeah. What was your relationship like when Wayne when he passed away? Were you in touch with him, or?
I had making a positive move for sure. I went out to see him play. He had the band, his solo band, which was the Pig Hammer album, and he had played Allentown actually. And I went down to see him play. Didn't tell him I was coming. I didn't make any announcement. I just showed up kind of incognito, in disguise, like, I put my hair up and I'm wearing some glasses just to look like a nerd, because I don't want fans to recognize me either.
Yeah, put your bandana up.
Right. Yeah. But no, it was Valentine's Day 2012.
Mm.
And I went to the show, and coincidentally, the tour manager at that time was the same Static X tour manager from back in the day. So I didn't want him to recognize me, but I handed him a letter. I wrote Wayne a little note. I put it in an envelope, and I planned this out, and I handed him this letter. And he's like, all right, kid. Yeah, he called me like kid. All right, kid. And I said, just give this to Wayne. And then
now, wait a second. Hold on. Stop. Did he know, the tour manager still didn't know who you were? He just thought you were some random fan?
I was, yeah, so in disguise, he didn't recognize me.
So how do you think he was? Do you really think he was gonna hand a note to Wayne?
Yeah, I thought he would. I thought he would. I just because I know him. He's very on point type of guy.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, he's very on point. And he said, all right, kid. So then I'm sitting out in my car in the parking lot, and I see him running across the parking lot to the tour bus and back, and I see the guitar player who I recognize that I never really met him. And I'm like, I can't do this to Royal. His name was Royal Jens. I can't do this to Royal. Be here, and then he'll find out, why didn't you tell me you were here? So I go up, I get out of my car, I go up to him, I go, Royal. He goes, hey, I'm busy right now, kid. I go, it's me, dude. He's like, Tripp. Oh, and he hugs me, and it was like, whoa, wait, hold on a second. I want you to meet somebody. And he goes and gets Wayne's guitar player, Ashes. And Ashes comes over. Oh, dude. Oh, I love you. You know, he's a fan too. And he was talking to me about, you know, it's so great. We brought your song "The Only" back into the set because I love that song. It's my favorite Static X song. And he goes, you got to talk to Wayne. And they were like, come on to the bus. And like, yeah, come on the bus. I'm like, you're gonna bring me on the bus.
Well, what was your relationship
Without,
like with them at this point? Were you guys just kind of excommunicated?
yeah, we were just not in contact. So like
Okay.
showing up, having his guitar player and the tour manager bring me on the bus unannounced sounds a little inappropriate. Like maybe he's gonna be, him and his wife might be a little bit ticked about that.
Okay.
But I'm like, but I was incognito, and I'm like, I don't feel it's the right time. I regret it now because I didn't go. I didn't go. I was like, no, it's okay. There'll be another time. So I said, did you give him that note? He goes, so later he gave him the note and the note was very simple, just like, hey, dude, it was great to see you. I'm glad to see you're still doing it. And it was really nice to see you play tonight. You know, I didn't give him my number or anything because, you know, I figure it's not the right time. And you could contact somebody if you need to. And I know those guys to get a hold of them. So I let it go, but it was a note. And then he said to me later, I talked to Royal after that tour, but I don't know if a lot of people paid attention back then. And that was right before a gigantic drama happened where there was drugs found on the bus and they got run down, all these charges in Kentucky, and Wayne had to fly back to face all these charges. And they were having drugs mailed out, and Royal had to quit because he didn't want to get charged with anything. You know? So it's like all this stuff happened at once. But after the tour, I talked to Royal. I said, hey, sorry to hear about all this, but what happened when you gave him the note? And he goes, you know something? I gave him that note, and he goes, this look came across his face, like, oh, Tripp was here. And he read the note, and he was like, oh, Tripp was here. And then Tara was like, oh, what is he stalking us? I'm like, no, but I would have liked to meet his wife and just see him. If I was stalking them, maybe I would have went on the bus with them.
And that was the last time, so you never got a chance to talk to him again, huh?
Right. And I mean, I don't want to let it, eat at me, but I felt like, the fact that he reacted positively to this note that I gave him, and, we have such a history. It's kind of like one of those things like, dude, like if we saw each other again, just like I saw AC Slade out at a club, or I saw when I met up with Edsel, when I, like recontacted everybody, and just sometimes it would just happen spontaneously. I'm like, hey, Edsel wants you to come out on the tour, and he wants you to, he'll put you on the list, or this person. I make contact with people, and when you see someone's like, dude, how you doing? It's good to see you. And I feel like that could have happened with Wayne, because obviously he wasn't. He looked at the note and he was like, oh, Tripp was here. Like why didn't he come on? Like almost like he was, why didn't he come on and say hello or something, And I wish I would have, but I was kind of, I was a little bit self-conscious in 2012. So, but then he passed away 2 years later, and I got that call. I mean, Tony called me. We were all in contact. I was talking to Tony at the time. I reconciled with Tony in 2013. And then, I had devices I had in my mind, I want to, work with these guys again. I want to work with them. So I reconnected with Tony, and then I reconnected with Ken J, and, just started talking to everybody again. But Edsel, AC, a lot of people that I used to play with, there's pretty much, I was starting to be in contact with everybody, little by little. So a lot of good vibes.
Now, this might be a dumb question. I don't even know. You probably answered this before, but how come you're not involved in the current Static X?
Yeah, basically, so you go back to 2014 when Wayne passed away, and we were all talking on the phone back then because it was a tragedy, and but I was already talking to Tony at the time, and then Ken J, I start talking to him. I think I was talking to him anyway too, and it hit him very hard. So right then, before the year was over in 2014, Wayne had passed away in early November. We were already talking about getting back together and doing like a tribute thing for Wayne back then. We were going to do maybe maybe a 6-city tour. and just go and, you know, find somebody to sing the songs and go out and do like a farewell or a tribute to Wayne with the, you know, all the, whatever original members there were, me, Tony, and Ken, and maybe Nick Oshiro on drums. Like have him switch off on drums and have Koichi and me both play guitar and have somebody come out and sing. So it was going to be like a tribute concert. And then, you know, something happened. We just, you know, we felt like, all right, well, we should be talking to Wayne's widow. And then they had a little bit weird relationship because Tony and Koichi, they had a bad, you know, ending with everything, you know, with Static X. So they didn't want to deal with all that. But then she did a concert, like a tribute concert for Wayne in Hollywood. And it was like all these people were out there, but there's no members of Static X invited. But I talked to Ash, as the guitar player. He said, "Oh, you should have came, Tripp." Well, I wasn't invited. And it's like there was not a lot of communication back then, but there was some bad blood between, you know, his widow and the ex-members of Static X. So, you know, but, you know, there's always, you know, bad, weird things with bands when they break up. I got so many stories like that. how I left Dope, how I left Murderdolls, and then I reconciled with Joey Jordison later. So yeah, there's a lot of crazy, interesting stories. But you want there to be good vibes. You want there to be some reconciliation. But back to your question, I was involved with the Static X reunion. So 2016 happens, like 2014, Wayne passes away, 2015. In the beginning of 2016, Tara Ray passes away, Wayne's widow, you know, she died. Mm-hmm. She's no longer with us. So she passes away. Later in the year, I called Tony up and I'm like, dude, like, I love this music. Let's just start working on some things. Or would you be into getting the band back together in some form? Let's just start working and see what happens. Let's work on stuff. Let's put the band back together. Obviously want to use Ken J and just see what happens with the singer, you know? So I'm the one who made the initial phone call to Tony. Said, let's do this. And looking now, they're back together. So I got the ball rolling. It makes them uncomfortable because we had a falling out because there was some miscommunication, bad communication, some, you know, misunderstandings and stuff. So 2016, me and Tony are working on a bunch of songs. It's feeling great. We get Edsel involved in the production and stuff. Ken J's hearing all the music we're working on. 2017, 2018, Wisconsin Death Trip anniversary is coming up. So they're like, well, let's do this anniversary Wisconsin Death Trip with Koichi playing guitar because that's the 20th anniversary and original members. Mm-hmm. So you can step aside and come back in for the Machine anniversary because that's, you know, that's the album I was on, which is
right.
That's when I came into the picture. So, but then there's like, then all of a sudden miscommunication happened and they're changing songs that I wrote and they weren't communicating with me. And it got very upsetting to me because I'm like, what's going on? Why are you changing these songs? And they were getting other people involved, other singers. You're going to have guest singers, maybe Jonathan Davis, Corey Taylor, all these names are floating around, but it never materialized, you know, they all maybe passed on it, you know? So, but I'm like asking questions, why are you changing the songs? And that's where all the bad blood happened. And I had to lawyer up and then, oh, you're lawyering up. And then all of a sudden there's lawyers contacting. It's like, oh my God. It goes from me having the idea to bring them back together to like now lawyers and, you know, everyone's freaking out. And so, yeah, it kind of got heavy and it's really sad because I reconciled with all these guys and now I'm not even talking to them. So it's kind of, so I'm doing interviews and I'm doing some podcasts, doing some interviews, getting things out there. Doing some press releases and, you know, unfortunately these guys are like, you know, I don't know if you saw any of it, but I did a couple podcasts recently and both podcasts I did ended up being blabbermouth articles.
Yeah.
You know, and getting out there. So it's like, you know, it's like, I just want to get, you know, my version of things out there, which to me, it's the truth. This is what I did. I wrote these songs with these guys. So, but now they're saying this and saying that. It's unfortunate, but you know, I persevere. So I got one of my projects, what I was saying, I got 3 projects. I got Face Without Fear, my original band. I got Rough House, my old school hair metal band. But I have a third project, which I call Project X. And that's pretty much me going to release the Static X stuff that we were working on. You know, we were working on this stuff it morphed into something else that they're doing. And I got my songs I wrote with Tony and Wayne and Ken J and Edsel. So I got a bunch of songs that they may never put out, or maybe they will, but they're my songs too. So I'm going to put them out. You know, I got a singer, I got a bass player, I got a drummer, and we're going to do kind of a Static X sounding project because that's what I wanted to do. And they, you know, kind of gave me the two-step here thing. So, you know, you never know.
Now, is that the new stuff that you're working on right now, or are you working on new stuff with Face Without Fear as well?
Yeah, both. I mean, we're in the studio. I'm in the studio with both projects, working on stuff. Face Without Fear is nearly complete. We got, you know, 11 originals. We do some cool covers.
Mm.
But I have in Project X, I got 20, almost 30 songs in session, maybe over 30 that we're working on. Some have vocals, some don't. But I have a singer that has a very Wayne style voice. I got a great drummer and a bass player, and they're all down with this. And it's like, it's exciting. You know, we're gonna do these songs kind of in the original vibe of how they were meant to be, how Wayne and I were working on it, or me and Tony were working on some songs. So each song has its individual history. Some of them are from back 20 years ago. Some of these songs are from 20 years old. Some of them are from the recent project that me and Tony did in 2016 when we reunited Static X, and we were working on a bunch of great songs. I mean, the vibe was great working on it with Tony with some things. So,
and that was like, now you're looking at, you know, 6-7 years ago. So will Wayne and Tony have writing credits on some of these songs?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's their songs. It's my songs. It's like copyrights are shared, you know? So I have, you know, I got these songs that they're not being used, so I'm going to record them. I mean, some of them were recorded already. They're extra songs from Start. I don't know how familiar you are with the Static X catalog, you know, Start of War album.
Mm.
That's from 2005. That's the album I worked on. And there's a couple extra songs on there that never got released that are finished. They ended up on the new Static X album, but they changed them around a lot, you know, and I feel like I don't like what they did with them. That's part of the dispute I have with these guys. So I'm going to be doing the original versions of these songs. They were copywritten in 05. So they're, you know, they're my songs, they're Wayne's songs. So we're going to do the original versions of those songs, which is going to be cool because nobody's ever.
Any timeline as to when that'll be coming out?
Not really. We're working on it. I might release a song as early as a month from now.
Mm.
You know, one of them, get them out there, you know, because they're really cool. I want people to hear them, you know. So but yeah, we might trickle them out like little by little, release a song and do a video for it, and kind of get the band, my project out there. We don't have a name for the project. I got a couple ideas. So the name for the band is not decided yet. I just call it Project X right now. So Project X is forming and working on this stuff. So, but I'm pretty sure we'll have a song within a month. You know, it's getting close.
When you look back on your career, and you've been in a bunch of projects, you've been doing this for a long time, what was like the peak of your career? Was it the early 2000s?
Yeah, I mean, joining Static X for Machine, they were on top of the world. They just came off Wisconsin Death Trip platinum album. So it was great. We came out, we were on 2 tour buses. It was like touring the world, touring all over the place. And that was obviously a highlight. It was amazing, you know, going out, playing these songs, they just had 2 albums. So playing the songs from the first 2 albums in the set every night was awesome. And then the next album, Shadow Zone, I get to make my writing debut, where I got to write songs. And the first song I wrote with Static X was that was the first single. And it's one of their biggest songs, you know, it's to this day. It's the biggest song on YouTube. So it's like, it means something, you know. So that's, I mean, there's 2 big highlights. Joining Static X and touring with them on Machine and doing the Cold video, the Queen of the Damned soundtrack, doing Black and White, all that stuff. I mean, it was so much fun, you know. And then doing Shadow Zone, Nick Oshiro came in on drums. He was a great guy to play with. And then we toured on Shadow Zone and played all over the world with that. That was a highlight, playing my own songs on stage. So it was like, what do I like better? And I'm going to tell you, it's like playing my own songs on stage or playing their songs on stage. It was equally just as good. I mean, it was fun doing both those things. And you know, so those are 2 big highlights. But playing with Dope, I mean, when I joined Dope, And we went out on tour in '99. That, I mean, the memories there, meeting Static X and touring with Kid Rock and Alice Cooper and all the bands, Slipknot and Cold Chamber and Fear Factory and Seven Dust and Power Man 5000, and touring with all those bands was amazing. It's like, that's a highlight. It was tougher touring and it was more of a struggle because we're farther down the bill and the shows are more, it was crazy, but that was a lot of fun, you know? So like, I feel like I was blessed. I mean, I had a lot of cool things. And then the Murderdolls was great. I never got to tour with the Murderdolls, but working with Joey Jordison and getting that project going, that was a dream. It's like a lot. I mean, I feel like a lost opportunity because I didn't get to tour with them because Static X was in the studio. I had to quit the band. Murderdolls I had to quit because Static X's, you know, writing schedule and stuff. So I don't want to miss out. You know, if you had to choose like something like as a musician performer, like what's more important, writing songs or performing? I mean, everyone likes to be on stage, but writing songs, you know, is the bread and butter. It's also like the heart and soul of everything. You know, you want to write music, you know, you want to get your music out there. So
what's going on with Wednesday 13? Because I hear all this stuff. Are you in contact with him or no?
Yeah, I've talked to him a little bit recently. Yeah, he's you know, he did put out a new album, did a tour, you know.
Yeah.
He's you know, the struggle between him and AC and the trademark of Murderdolls, you know about that, right?
Yeah. I talked to AC about that last year. Yeah. And he was kind of doing the same thing, talking to guys like me to get it out there and put his side of the story out. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's yeah, it's obviously a dispute that's not going away, but it's like, you know, it's unfortunate because AC Slade is I got a complete history with him. You know, it's like I go back to 1991. He tried out for a band I had in New York City, and we lived through going through the '90s. He played a bunch of bands. We did shows together, and you know, I pretty much got him into the band Dope. So it's like, you know, he and I like have a lot of memories and stuff. But the current thing with Murderdolls, it's a tough thing because like, you know, I would love to talk to AC, but he's made himself like kind of like in a situation where he's got an agenda with Murderdolls, and he's putting this out. And I guess he's banking on, you know, there's enough people that just love everybody and don't want to dispute. And here's Murderdolls, check it out. But there's a weird thing, you know, Joey Jordison not being around, you know, it's a tough thing. What would Joey think about this, you know? And I kind of,
it's the same thing like the Pantera guys. I don't know. We don't need to go down that rabbit hole, but wrapping things up here because I'm running out of time with my Zoom. But you know, if there's what can you tell the fans about what you got coming up this year, and what do you want to leave the fans with as far as from your side of the story, from anything that you want to get out there?
Yeah, basically, I got a website called trippeisen.com. TRIPPEISEN.com. My name, trippeisen.com. Just
launched. You just got that up, right?
Just a few weeks ago. Yeah. That's going to be a hub for everything. It'll have a lot of content and it's going to build. But I'm doing a podcast. So with all this controversy going on, Dope, Murderdolls, Static X, and all this stuff. So I'm going to have an outlet to talk about it. It's fun doing interviews and talking about it and taking questions about it. But I'm going to put myself in a forum where I'm going to have people that were in the trenches or there, friends of people that knew Wayne and Tara, people that were there with Dope, and people were there with the Murderdolls, and people that know intimately what was going on 20 years ago with a lot of this stuff. So it's not just Tripp's version. Oh, this is just Tripp's opinion. I'm going to have people on the show talking. I'm never going to talk by myself. I'm going to have somebody on. It's going to be a conversation going on, and keep it short form and talk about things. I'm going to have guitar techs and personal assistants and people that knew Wayne and Tara, people that were there from the 90s all the ways to the very end. So it's not going to be like, oh, it's not legitimate. That doesn't have street cred. What's Tripp talking about? I'm going to have stuff that's credible. So they're not going to be able to say like, oh, what is that? No, these are people that are legit, and it's going to be interesting conversations and stories, the interesting stories that need to be told about Dope, about Murderdolls. That's cool. But Static X is obviously my favorite thing I've ever done. So it's called the Dope on Static X podcast. Play on words.
There you go.
The Dope on Static X podcast. So I'm going to do maybe a limited episodic thing, maybe 10 or 12 episodes only. See how it goes and make it's a limited run. I'm not going to be going on and on. So get the story out there and make it interesting. And so trippeisen.com will be a hub for that. I'll probably be on a lot of platforms, like your podcast. You got to get it out there. You got to push it as much as you can. Facewithoutfear.com. Face Without Fear is all over social media. I love it. The guys are great, and we're putting out great music. And then Project X will be coming up. There'll be some cool music, and that'll be a whole, who knows where that's going to go. It's exciting. We don't know. Are we going to play live? We're just going to do videos. The guys are like flexible. We don't know where that's going to go. I don't know if it's going to, it's not going to interfere with Face Without Fear. It's going to be two separate entities, but either way, it's going to be a lot of fun. I gotta be playing music, just to turn it in. Like, oh no, I got to keep playing music. I don't want to play covers.
I hear you. Well, I'll tell you what, when you get all this stuff up and running, like maybe in the fall or something, come back and revisit, and we'll talk about everything you got going on.
Definitely, man. I appreciate it so much, man. It's like great talking to you.
Yeah, great to make your acquaintance after all these years. I've been in this business a billion years like you have, and I've never had a chance to run across you. So, Tripp, good luck to everything. I appreciate the time.
Yeah, thank you so much.